not as fast as we would want, but I think that stability is getting in that direction, and we certainly hope for American national interest and the interest of all of the Middle East that there be a stable Iraq. Because if there's not a stable Iraq, opens up a vacuum, and then we have the influence and intervention by Iran. That's my opinion. I plan on going to Afghanistan in a couple of weeks, in May. I guess May is a couple of weeks, along with another bipartisan codel of members of Congress. There'll be 4 members of Congress, and we'll be going to Afghanistan. We'll be in Turkey, then Afghanistan, and then back in Turkey again. Afghanistan is a different situation because of the fact that our NATO allies are moving in a more aggressive direction in supporting personnel and the political situation in Afghanistan, with more and more involvement of not only troops but civilian personnel in Afghanistan as well. And that's good. I think that's very important that NATO do its job and finish the situation and stabilize Afghanistan. That is an ongoing process. About the time we think that success is on the brink, then there's more and more problems in Afghanistan. But those are the 2 theaters that are of main concern to the United States and to, I think, world peace, that we solve both of those issues and be diligent about it. I would like to just address a few other things that are just kind of cover a few areas in the time that I have. One situation that you may have not heard of that I would like to just bring to your attention, we have the constant problem in the United States on our southern and really southeastern border of involvement of the drug cartels that operate all the way from Colombia through Central America into the United States. And I want to explain to you how sophisticated the drug cartels have gotten in Colombia. Now, to bring drugs into the United States, they use every means that you all know about, but they're also using a new invention. And it's a new way to bring drugs into this country. And thanks to our Coast Guard and the United States Navy, they have discovered their new system of bringing in drugs, and that's by submarine. That is correct, by submarine. In the jungles of Colombia, where the cocaine is produced, right alongside the cocaine that's being produced, the drug cartels are producing 100-foot submarines made out of fiberglass that have stealth technology on them. And they use these submarines. They go all the way from South America into the United States, go all the way to the East Coast without refueling. They're barely below the surface, but they are below the surface. The stealth technology prevents radar and sonar from detecting them, and the only way they can be detected is by air. And they're painted the color of the ocean, very difficult to see. They hold 12 tons of cocaine, worth anywhere from $300 to $500 million, and they have a crew of 5 to 6. And what occurs is when not just the American Navy or the Coast Guard, but other countries that cooperate with interdiction of the drugs come upon one of these submarines, they pull the hatches and they scuttle it. And the drugs sink to the bottom of the ocean. Then you got 5 or 6 crewmen that need to be rescued. And then they're rescued by our Navy and they're sent back to wherever they came from, and there's no prosecution because the drugs are on the bottom of the ocean. The only time, there's been one case, and there's 6 of these guys being tried in Tampa, Florida, where a bale of cocaine floated back to the surface, and it was confiscated, and so they're being prosecuted for that. And that has been a problem, and the Coast Guard predicts that this year there will be at least 100 more of these subs coming into the United States. And you're smart enough to understand that if they can bring drugs into the United States by submarine, they can bring anything else, such as explosives, come up the Houston Ship Channel or any other place. So it's very, very dangerous and a security problem. So, in the Coast Guard bill that was filed or approved last week, I filed an amendment to that to make being in possession of one of these submarines on the high seas when it's not registered to any nation and it does not have a state registration, not state of Texas, national state, a federal offense equivalent to importation of drugs, and the House passed passed that. Now it's part of the Coast Guard Reauthorization Act to now the Coast Guard, when they rescue the crew members, they don't have to send them back where they came from. They can prosecute them if they scuttled these submarines. But that's just an example of how sophisticated the drug trade has gotten in bringing drugs into the United States. And it's an international issue, of course, and a great concern to the security of this country to be able to interdict those submarines. Let me mention one other thing. I think we may have a little time for some questions. Energy is the biggest concern now. People talk